My wife and I have been together for 20 years, married for 16 of those, and we have a beautiful 15-year-old daughter. We've had a pretty solid marriage, or so I thought, until last month, when my entire world came crashing down. One evening, out of the blue, my wife sat me down and confessed something that shattered me to my core. She admitted that she had cheated on me during a recent business trip, a one-night stand. She was in tears, remorseful, and apologizing over and over. She promised that it meant nothing, that she had made a horrible mistake, and that she was willing to do whatever it took to make things right between us. I can't even begin to describe the wave of emotions that hit me in that moment. Shock, betrayal, sadness, anger, everything all at once. I felt like the foundation of my life had been ripped out from under me. The person I had trusted the most in the world had broken that trust in a way I never thought possible. I didn't know what to do. My mind was spinning with thoughts of whether or not I could ever look at her the same way, let alone rebuild the life we had. I told her I needed time to think, and honestly, I didn't know if our marriage could survive this. Over the next few weeks, I went back and forth 1,000 times. I would lie awake at night replaying her confession over and over in my head, wondering how something like this could have happened. I thought about leaving, filing for divorce, and starting over. But then, I would think about our 20 years together, the life we had built, and especially our daughter. I didn't want to destroy everything. I wanted to find a way to move forward, but the pain was so deep. During this time, the tension in our house was palpable. I tried to hide how hurt I was, but our daughter is smart. She noticed. She would ask me if everything was okay between us, and I would just brush it off. My wife and I were pretending like everything was fine for her sake, but deep down nothing felt fine. After 3 agonizing weeks of soul-searching, I finally made a decision. I told my wife that I was willing to try to make things work, but only if she followed through with every step of reconciliation. She needed to be open, transparent, and do the work to regain my trust. But there was one more thing. I told her that if she wanted to stay in this relationship, she had to tell our daughter the truth about what she had done. I know that sounds harsh, but in my mind, it was about more than just reconciliation between us. It was about accountability, honesty, and teaching our daughter the importance of owning up to your mistakes. I felt like my wife had failed in her moral duty to our marriage, and if she wanted to prove she was willing to be a better person, she needed to start by being honest with the person who looked up to her the most, our daughter. I didn't want my daughter to grow up thinking lies could be hidden forever, or that you could do something like this and just keep it secret. My wife was hesitant. She looked at me like I was asking for the impossible. She told me she was worried about how this would affect their relationship. They've always been really close, and I knew how much that bond meant to both of them. I could see the fear in her eyes as she imagined what telling the truth might do to that bond. But I stood firm. I told her that if she wanted to stay married to me, she had to face the consequences of her actions head on, and that included being honest with our daughter. It wasn't an easy conversation. My wife cried, begged me to reconsider, said that it wasn't fair to drag our daughter into this, but I wasn't budging. I told her that this was a test of her character. If she was truly remorseful, if she was truly committed to being a better person, she needed to tell the truth no matter how hard it was. After a couple of days of thinking it over, she agreed. She sat our daughter down and told her everything. I wasn't in the room for the conversation. I felt like that was something they needed to handle together, but I could feel the tension in the house as it happened. My heart was racing the entire time, wondering what our daughter would say, how she would react, and whether this would shatter the close relationship they had. When it was over, my wife told me how it went. Our daughter didn't yell or scream. She didn't cry. She was quiet, processing the information, but I could tell she was hurt. She asked some questions, and my wife answered honestly, but I could see a shift in my daughter afterward. She wasn't as open or affectionate toward her mom, and there was a definite distance between them. As the days passed, I noticed that the relationship between my wife and our daughter wasn't destroyed, but it wasn't the same. There was a slight reservation in my daughter's interactions with her, a quiet disappointment that wasn't there before, but the fact that it didn't break their bond completely gave me hope. Maybe my wife had passed the test. Maybe this honesty was the first step toward healing, not just for me, but for all of us. But now, after everything, I can't help but wonder if I did the right thing. Was I an asshole for making my wife tell our daughter about the affair? Should I have let that secret stay between us to protect their relationship? My wife never blamed me outright, but I could tell she wished she hadn't had to tell our daughter. My daughter seems okay, but she's definitely more reserved, and I don't know if that's going to change. So, was I too harsh? Should I have handled things differently? Or was I right to make sure everything was out in the open, even if it caused some pain? I feel like I did what was necessary, but sometimes, I wonder if I'll regret it later.